Evan Jacobsen joins me here today. Evan graduated class of 2020, right?
Yep.
And he played three different sports. He played football, he played basketball, he played baseball, and he's since gone on college, long journey and coaching, everything. So a lot to discuss here today, but let's start off with football.
Yeah, so I started playing football as a freshman. I wasn't in any of like the feeder programs or anything. So I started off in ninth grade. We didn't have a JV team or anything, so didn't get to play a whole lot. Didn't get very many reps as a freshman. Um, we learned a lot from Coach Wood in terms of like discipline and a whole bunch of other stuff. I probably learned more life lessons through football than anywhere else. To be honest with you. Um,
Specifically, what life lessons did you learn, and why do you think it made more sense to learn it through football versus learning it somewhere else?
um, So football, the big thing with us was accountability, like holding each other accountable, learning like that type of thing. Discipline for sure. Coach Wood is not known to be like a pushover type of coach by any means. And I'm very happy I get to experience that. Um, Discipline, hard work, good work ethic. You have to earn everything over there in RedHawks. Like he doesn't really care who you are, where you came from, or any of that. You just got to prove it all from the get go, which I really loved over there. Um, then sophomore year, I started on defense. Which was a nice step up from not playing as much at all as a freshman. Um, we didn't win very many games that year. I think we went 2-7. And then going into my junior year, we moved down to Division 3, which is where we should have been probably
Yeah.
the whole time. And then we were really competitive. We finished 7-4, made it to the Final Four. Um, we had like a great season. Like the turnaround in 1 year was pretty awesome. Uh, yeah, and then senior year again was a 7-4 Final Four trip, where we lost to Lebanon in the semifinals. And yeah, so as far as like the basic overview is my football 4 years when we had like the ups and downs of Division 2 and then down to Division 3 where we were really successful. And yeah.
I remember my first time really covering sports was for the RedHawks when I was a freshman reporting for the Talon. I just remember going to those games and seeing Mike Oberheimen at quarterback and
Yeah.
Colby Quiet every weekend. Seemed like he rushed for over 300 yards and had 5 touchdowns, and just how dominant you guys all were together.
Yeah.
So
It was a good run for sure. One thing some of us still hold is Colby Quiet was actually 2 touchdowns away from the state record for the most rushing touchdowns scored in a season going into our Final Four game, and then we got shut out. I believe it was 41-0. So we didn't get him in his final two to break the record, but he was close, which just
yeah,
shows like how good like that team was and him specifically. So
you guys were unbelievable that year. I remember that was like one of the most dominant. Colby was probably one of the most dominant athletes I've ever seen in this town, and I'd say the tandem of you, Mike, Colby, the whole group. I think that was probably like just you could see it, some of the
yeah.
best teamwork that you can expect from a team. What's your advice for players out there who want to recapture that for maybe some current Red Hawks or just anybody on a team in general?
To be honest, it's just like cohesion and time. Like I said, before we were that successful later on in my high school career, we had like the earlier woes where everyone was kind of thrown together and we kind of grew up in the
Mhm.
program together. And sometimes that's out of your control. Like obviously when players
Yeah.
come in different years and all that stuff, but we were pretty beneficial where quite a few of the kids on that team had played all 4 years and we got to know each other. And I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, we had a really great year that last year. I believe we had 9 kids on All State, which is kind of unheard of for football. There's a lot of people. Not for it was like that's like in between first team, second team,
Yeah.
and honorable mention, all that stuff. But needless to say, we had quite a few good players on that team.
Yeah, so after that, let's go and now that we're done with football, let's talk about basketball.
Basketball. Let's see. So my freshman year, I played JV with Coach Hill. That was a really fun team, great group of guys. The that group had been playing together since as far back as I can remember. Since I moved here in 5th grade, we've all been pretty much playing together our whole lives. So it was fun where we got to bring it up to high school. We were a pretty good team. I don't remember exactly what our record was. All I know is that we did pretty solid. Um, 10th grade, I was a swinger, a varsity and JV swinger. Um, and that was the first year I got to play with my brother on the same team
Yeah.
in high school. So that was awesome. He ended up swinging as a freshman, and getting to play together in high school, starting off then was really fun. Um, my sophomore year, we were really good. That's back when Kevin McGrath and Dustin and Zach Signor and all those guys were playing.
Yeah.
That was their senior year, where we were high hopes, number one seed going into the playoffs, and then everybody got sick. Actually, everyone got the flu like the same time. The majority of our starters, so we went down I believe it was, we had a first round bye, so I think it was the second round to Monadnock. We went down earlier than most people foresaw us, like finishing. So that was a little bit of a tough ending to a great season, but we still really successful. Um, let's see. Junior year, we were also good. That's when Caleb Yanakopoulos was the lone senior, and then we were primarily an underclassmen filled team. That's where a lot of people got to step up, and that was a great year. We again a solid year, playoff berth. We were really good there. Senior year was statistically one of the best years we had in my high school career. We made it to the Final Four, and let's see who we made it to the Final Four. We got to play at Keene State, which was always fun, the atmosphere and all
Yeah.
that good stuff. And we lost, unfortunately, to Guilford, but they were always tight, close games with Guilford, and they ended up being like the co-champions with them with Messinic that year,
Yeah.
because that's the year COVID kind of stepped in and ruined a whole lot of stuff. But
Yeah. So I remember some of those guys, those names you just listed, and watching them. I think
yeah,
it's really cool that getting the perspective of guys who graduated years ago and learning about those teams. Sounds like there was like a lot of issues with like sickness and stuff like that that held you guys back that
yeah,
one year, and then you had COVID. Obviously, didn't have the championship, but so interesting stuff.
yeah.
Baseball played 2 years.
Yeah, my baseball time at Hopkinton in ninth grade, I played JV um, again for Coach Hill, and that was a really fun team. Those baseball teams, like some of like the most fun times I remember playing sports in high school. It's pretty funny characters on those teams. Always a good time. Yeah, ninth grade. I don't remember a whole lot in terms of our record or anything like that. All I remember is that it was super fun. Like the atmosphere around that team was super fun. And then 10th grade, I played varsity. We didn't have a JV team that year though. We were in Division 4, and the numbers were, that's back when probably the numbers for Opton baseball were as small as they've been, where we were only fielding one team. We were successful though, a playoff team. We lost up in Littleton, I believe. Um, but we were a solid team. I appreciated my baseball years at Hopkinton. It was probably my worst sport out of the three, in terms of like my personal like skill or anything like that. But I still enjoyed a lot. I still
That's
enjoyed
good.
it so much. And then my junior year for baseball, I took off because I was preparing to play college football. So I wanted to bulk up and increase my chances of that going into my senior year for football season, which ended up paying off. And I'm glad I did. Unfortunately,
I got some water here for you if you need it.
no, no, cool. I'm all good for now though. But
Yeah.
um, my senior year, COVID. So I was preparing to play again. We were as basketball season was wrapping up, we started like the throwing in the gym and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. And I was excited to get back into baseball after missing it the year before. But then obviously COVID came and swept all that away. So
So do you feel like you learned anything from the just COVID coming in and just, taking out the sport that everybody was like thought,
yeah,
we're getting this no matter what?
I would say just like appreciate it while you have it. High school sports go by really quick, and especially when a couple of your seasons get cut short. The class 2021 can probably go on that more than I can, because at least I got like 3/4 of my year
Mhm.
perfectly normal. After that, obviously everything got all mixed up, and but just basically appreciate it while you have it. High school only lasts 4 years, and it goes by quicker than most people think. So um, enjoy your sports in high school while they last, for sure.
Yeah. So after graduation, Stevenson U football, that was your plan.
Yep. In my original plan, I got a couple opportunities to play college football following my senior season. Um, Stevenson University, right outside of Baltimore in Maryland, was my first choice. And I was pretty much fully set on going there. Um, but then again, I found out their season was getting canceled because of COVID. It was all uncertainty. Right after I graduated, what college sports would look like. And when I found out that their season was canceled, I decided I didn't want to experience college in the middle of the pandemic. And I'd always been interested in joining the National Guard or the military of some sorts. So when I found out that their season was canceled, I made the decision to do a gap year, and I enlisted in the National Guard. Um, and that pretty much started a whole different journey from there. That's where everything kind of got all mixed up. But
Yeah, so you could have done a lot of different things, but you decided to join the National Guard. Why?
to be honest, like I said, I've always been interested in the military. My older brother was military, my grandfather. It was just like kind of sort of a family thing. I'd always had an interest in it. And the pandemic, the National Guard specifically, just helping out the community. That's one thing the National Guard is a little bit different than any of the other branches because I mean we had a lot of activations for like COVID shots and COVID testing and all that good stuff. So um, I just wanted to directly help the community while I could, considering I didn't want to experience college and the pandemic and all that good stuff. So I felt like it was a good time as any to do that.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. You're representing us well by doing something like that and, helping out the community. So definitely appreciate that on behalf of all of Hopkinton. So after that, you went back to coach RedHawks with
Yep.
Coach Wood.
So I went back to coach RedHawks with Coach Wood. That was before I left for the National Guard. Actually, that fall season, I didn't leave until April the following spring. But I coached RedHawks with Coach Wood as an assistant. Me and Jack Horn, who was also in the same boat, he did the Air National Guard and was going to help coach back to where we played. And it was so much fun. We reached out because we loved that program and had like an amazing 4 years with them. And we just wanted to like help give back to the current players. And if anyone was going to put as much energy and passion into it, any other coaches, we wanted to be right there with them just because of how much that program meant to us. So we were coaching, and probably about halfway through the season, I realized how much I missed playing, just from being on the sidelines. I like being surrounded by the game, but it's just a total different feel than playing. So Coach Wood actually helped me out, and we sent my old high school tape to Norwich University up in Vermont, which is where I was looking at the time for college. And I was offered a roster spot up on their team up there, which was super exciting. Um, and they're also a military college, so it kind of started to everything started to align at that point. So yeah, then I left, did basic training in AIT and all that stuff. When I came back 6 months later, uh, the training camp for Norwich started 3 days after I got home. So as soon as I got home, I packed
Oh,
up my
wow.
stuff and
Hit the ground
went up
running.
there, and I got to play a year of college football up there, which was an interesting experience.
What'd you take away from that?
Um, Again, hard work and starting from square one. Uh, by the time I was a senior in the RedHawks, I was pretty confident in my abilities. Not like cocky or anything, but
Yeah.
like I felt like I belonged and I was like a solid player on contributing on a good team. And then in college, you just go back to the bottom of the totem pole. As a freshman, we had 132 kids on the roster, um, which again, competition is pretty insane up there. I was a lot smaller than I thought because they recruited me out of high school, and then I left for the military, and I came back like 30 pounds lighter than when I left. So playing offensive line at 200 pounds in college is not very foreseeable for in terms of like long term at all.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it was fun. I'm glad to say I played college football for a year. I knew that if I hadn't have tried to experience it, that I would have regretted it
Yeah.
because it's like a once in a lifetime shot. So, um,
Chasing your dreams there. I think
yeah,
that's pretty
at
cool.
the time that was fun. After the first season, my first season there, I realized it's not really what I wanted to do. Um, it wasn't quite the camaraderie or exactly what I was looking for in terms of continuing football. I think I really missed the high school, like close, tight knit aspect of it.
Yeah.
And So after that, I decided to transfer back home to UNH and just continue and focus on my military career as well as coaching when I can. Like you saw me at the RedHawks game
Yeah,
when you asked me to come out. So
yeah,
um, yeah, it was really fun.
yeah, looks like you're having fun there. So, UNH, what are you studying over there?
I just switched my major actually. I was studying physical education and health, and I just changed my major to something completely different, homeland security. So again, trying to dial in on the military side of
Yeah,
things, and I come to the conclusion that like I can coach regardless of what profession I choose. I don't have to necessarily be a teacher to coach. So I think that's the main reason I want to change majors because I wasn't as much into the field as I was into the idea of coaching. So
yeah,
um, yeah.
that's pretty cool. So, any advice on for anybody else who's trying to go down the path of National Guard, football, whatever it is?
Um, yeah, in terms of football, it's just working really hard. When I came in as a freshman, I knew nothing much about football other than just what I saw on TV and Patriots and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and you'd be surprised how good you can get if you put your mind to it. I like to say that I was pretty good. I got better as the years went
yeah,
along. Coach Wood is very, very good if you put the effort in and time in terms of making yourself a better player. It's 100% like realistic and doable. You come in, you don't play much, you put the work in, he'll put you in positions to succeed. And it's just like a hard work thing, like work ethic and all that stuff. In terms of the National Guard, if you're trying to balance a whole bunch of things with it, um, it can be difficult sometimes, but again, it provided me some great opportunities. I'm very glad to serve my state and country. It's paying for my college.
yeah,
I'm currently in ROTC at school, also training to be an officer, which is a completely different side of the National Guard. But I'm having a lot of fun and learning a whole lot while I'm there too. I definitely recommend it for sure. Joining the Guard, especially if you're trying to go to college for free, which is a big thing for a lot of people, and it helps a lot of people that way. But it's afforded me a bunch of opportunities and kind of put me in the right path for my military career from here.
all right. And what about coaching? You see a future in that potentially?
Oh yeah, as long as I can make time for it. It's a pretty hectic, busy schedule, but when I come around and help on game days with the RedHawks this season, I made every game I could. Uh, in terms of having the time to be fully on, consistent while I'm in college, being a full time coach, probably not as realistic as like game day help type
Yeah,
things, but no, for sure, I enjoy coaching and coming back to Hopkinton to coach has been super fun. Um, this year, when I was coaching the senior game, it was the last rotation that I ever played with. So like Robert Rendon and all those guys, they
yeah.
were freshmen when I was a senior.
Okay,
So I
yeah,
remember him being my backup and stuff like that, and then seeing it all come to fruition, him leave was kind of cool. So um, that I think that for sure was an interesting part of coaching. Coaching
yeah,
kids you played with, like yeah, it's a different dynamic, but it's
yeah.
fun.
Super unique and crazy cool. But yeah. So if do you have any insight as to where you think you're gonna be in, 5, 10 years?
To be honest, not sure yet. After I complete the ROTC program and commission as an officer, I plan on staying in either the Guard or the Reserves, part-time military service, and probably see some myself somewhere in law enforcement in terms of like a main career. But I also definitely want to fit some coaching in there
Yeah,
somewhere. Like I said, sports were my whole entire life at Hopkinton, so um, and I'm still extremely passionate about it. So
yeah.
anytime where I can find to fit it in terms of like coaching and helping people out, I'm definitely gonna try to do
All
that.
right. Well, thank you for your
Of
service. Thanks
course,
for
man.
coming on the show. I really
Thanks for having me.
appreciate
Yeah,
talking to you, man. It's
yeah, for sure.
great to have you here.